The containment barrier around Earth's solar system was a marvel of alien engineering. Energy fields stretched across millions of kilometers, creating an invisible cage that no ship could cross without faster-than-light technology. Automated monitoring stations watched every movement within the system, ready to report any sign of human aggression. To the Galactic Council, it was a perfect solution. The violent humans were contained. The peaceful galaxy was protected, and eventually, time would teach the primitives to abandon their warlike ways. They had no idea they had just declared war on the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Admiral Kim Tae-woo stood in the command center beneath the ruins of Geneva, studying holographic displays of the alien barrier. Around him, the greatest military minds of humanity worked on a problem no species had ever attempted to solve. "Status report," he ordered. Engineer Nam So-young stepped forward, her eyes bright with the kind of excitement that came from solving impossible puzzles. "We've identified 17 critical weaknesses in their containment system. The aliens built it to stop ships from escaping, not to defend against coordinated attacks from within." "Explain." "They're using the barrier's own power grid against itself. Every monitoring station is connected to the same energy network. If we can overload the system at specific points, we can turn their cage into our weapon." Dr. Oh Byung-hun, the physicist who had been adapting alien technology, added his analysis. "The aliens think in terms of defense and containment. They never considered that someone might use the barrier as a launching platform for attacks outside the system." Colonel Lim Jae-sung had been training special forces for a different kind of war. "Sir, we've identified key alien installations within 50 light-years of Earth. If we can break through their barrier, we can hit them before they even know we've escaped." Admiral Kim Tae-woo nodded. The plan was audacious even by human standards. Instead of trying to break out of their cage, they would turn the cage itself into a weapon, then use alien technology to strike at targets across the galaxy. "How long?" he asked. 2 weeks, Nam So-young replied. "Maybe less if Captain Ko's deep space team finds what we're looking for." Captain Ko Sung-ho was leading humanity's first stealth mission beyond the solar system. Using a combination of alien technology and human innovation, his small fleet had found ways to become invisible to alien sensors. They weren't trying to escape, they were gathering intelligence. "Target acquired," Ko reported from his hidden position near the Centauri research station. 30 alien vessels, all civilian research ships. No military escort. Dr. Bae Mi-young, monitoring from Earth, smiled coldly. "Perfect. The aliens still don't understand that they're at war." The Centauri station was typical of alien installations. Peaceful, undefended, and completely unprepared for attack. The researchers there were studying stellar formation, completely unaware that human ships were watching them from the void. Major Park Hyun-woo led the reconnaissance team aboard the station. Using stolen alien uniforms and forged identification, they walked through the facility as if they belonged there. The aliens never suspected that predators had infiltrated their peaceful world. "Intelligence gathered," Park reported. "This station is connected to the main communication network. If we take it, we can monitor alien fleet movements across 3 sectors." Back on Earth, engineer Lee Jung-sik was putting the finishing touches on humanity's most ambitious project. The hybrid human-alien technology combined the aliens' faster-than-light capabilities with human weapon systems in ways the original designers never intended. "The conversion is complete," he announced. "We've turned their monitoring stations into missile launchers." Admiral Kim Tae-woo activated the communication system that connected him to every human military installation in the solar system. "All units, this is Admiral Kim. Operation Breakout begins in 60 seconds. Throughout the solar system, human forces that had been hiding and preparing for months suddenly came to life. The plan was simple in concept but impossible in execution. They would simultaneously attack every monitoring station in the containment barrier, overload the system's power grid, and use the resulting energy cascade to launch attacks on alien targets throughout the galaxy. "Execute Breakout," the Admiral ordered. The first explosions lit up the void around Jupiter, where hidden human missiles struck 3 monitoring stations at once. The aliens' automated defense systems tried to respond, but they were designed to stop escaping ships, not coordinated attacks from multiple directions. On the alien monitoring vessel, Peaceful Observer, Captain Trellnox watched his displays in confusion as human weapons appeared from nowhere. Where did these missiles come from? There are no human ships in this sector. His tactical officer was equally puzzled. Sir, the weapons seem to be coming from inside our own monitoring stations. That was when they realized the terrible truth. Somehow the humans had infiltrated their containment system and turned it against them. The very barriers meant to cage the violent species had become weapons pointed at the galaxy. The cascade failure began at the edge of the solar system and raced inward at the speed of light. Each overloaded monitoring station fed power into the next, creating a chain reaction that the aliens had never considered possible. Within minutes, their perfect containment system was tearing itself apart. But the humans weren't finished. As the barrier collapsed, Engineer Nam So-young activated the second phase of the plan. The dying monitoring stations fired their stored energy outward in directed beams, carrying human weapons across interstellar space at faster-than-light speeds. Captain Ko Sung-ho received the signal at Centauri Station. All teams, initiate Phase 2. The attack on the research station was swift and brutal. Human soldiers moved through the facility like death incarnate, their weapons cutting down alien researchers who had never imagined they might need to fight for their lives. Within an hour, the station was under human control. Similar attacks erupted across 3 sectors of the galaxy. Communications arrays, research stations, and supply depots fell to human forces that appeared without warning and struck without mercy. The aliens had no defense against an enemy they couldn't predict or understand. On the galactic capital world of Harmonia, emergency council sessions had been called as reports of human attacks poured in from across the galaxy. Counselor Eriksana stood before the assembly, her voice shaking with fear. "They're everywhere," she announced. "Human forces have appeared in 17 different systems. They're attacking civilian targets, destroying our infrastructure and taking hostages." Military advisor Jektul was studying tactical reports with growing horror. "This is impossible. We had them contained. How did they get past our barriers?" Scholar Quintel provided the answer. "They didn't get past our barriers. They turned our barriers into weapons. They used our own technology against us in ways we never imagined possible." The realization sent a wave of terror through the council. If humans could turn the galaxy's most advanced containment system into a weapon, what other alien technologies might they weaponize? "We have to negotiate," pleaded philosopher Renestos. "We have to find a peaceful solution." "You can't negotiate with predators," Jektul replied grimly. "You can only fight them or surrender to them." But even as the council debated, Captain Ko Sung-ho was implementing the final phase of humanity's plan. From the captured Centauri station, he broadcast a message across the galaxy's communication network. "People of the galaxy," his voice echoed across thousands of worlds, "this is Captain Ko Sung-ho of Earth Defense Forces. Your government attacked our world and attempted to imprison our species. We have responded with force because that is the only language you seem to understand." The message continued. "We don't want to conquer your worlds or destroy your civilization. We want something much simpler: respect. We want to be treated as equals, not as primitives to be contained or pets to be managed. Your containment has failed. Your defenses have been breached. Your people are at our mercy. But we are not the monsters you believe us to be. We offer you a choice. Accept humanity as an equal partner in this galaxy, or continue to fight a war you cannot win." The transmission ended with coordinates for a meeting place and a deadline. The aliens had 1 week to decide. On Earth, Admiral Kim Tae-woo watched the alien response with satisfaction. Across the galaxy, panic was spreading as peaceful species realized that their protectors couldn't protect them from an enemy that fought without rules or restraint. Dr. Bae Mi-young delivered her final analysis. "They'll negotiate. They have no choice. We've proven that their technology can't contain us, their defenses can't stop us, and their peaceful nature can't comprehend us. For the first time in 50,000 years, the galaxy has met a species that refuses to submit." The meeting took place on a neutral asteroid, with representatives from both sides approaching under terms that humans had dictated. Ambassador Veltari's replacement, Counselor Meridian, came expecting to face monsters. Instead, he found Captain Kang Dae-ho waiting with a simple proposal. "We don't want to rule your galaxy," Kang explained. "We don't want to destroy your civilization. We want to protect it." "Protect it from what?" Meridian asked. The Galactic Council chamber had not seen such chaos in 50,000 years. Representatives from hundreds of peaceful worlds spoke at once, their voices creating a symphony of fear and confusion. At the center of it all, the few survivors of the human attack tried to explain the impossible. Counselor Erix Anna of the Hegemony stood before the massive gathering, her scarred body still bearing marks from the human weapons. She had been one of only 43 beings to escape the massacre at Earth's solar system. "They killed without warning," she said, her voice shaking. "They killed without mercy. They killed beings who were offering them gifts." The chamber fell silent. In a galaxy where war had been extinct for millennia, the concept of deliberate murder was almost impossible to understand. Philosopher Rinestos spoke first. "Perhaps there was some misunderstanding, some failure of communication that led to this tragedy." "I was there," Arixana replied. "I saw Ambassador Veltari raise his tentacles in the universal peace greeting. They shot him 3 times in the chest. They knew he was trying to surrender, and they killed him anyway." Military advisor Jekatul was a new position on the council, created only after news of the human attack reached the galactic government. He had spent weeks studying the ancient records of pre-civilization warfare, trying to understand how beings could deliberately harm each other. "The tactical reports are disturbing," Jekatul announced. "These humans didn't just react violently, they planned violence. They hid ships throughout their system and coordinated attacks across vast distances. This wasn't fear or misunderstanding. This was war." The word war sent a ripple of terror through the chamber. Most of the representatives had never heard it used except in historical contexts, describing the dark times before their species achieved enlightenment. "What do we know about their capabilities?" asked Counselor Zafara of the Outer Rim worlds. Commander Nixara, who had barely escaped the destruction of his fleet, stepped forward. "They've learned to weaponize our own technology in ways we never imagined. Their ships were primitive when we first met them, but somehow they've adapted our designs for combat. They fight in 3 dimensions like predators hunting prey." Scholar Quintel, one of the few xenobiologists to survive close contact with humans, had been studying the recordings from both encounters. "I believe we're dealing with a species that evolved through constant conflict. Their reflexes, their tactics, even their social structures all suggest a species shaped by warfare." "That's impossible," protested Counselor Velnix. "Intelligent species abandon violence as they develop technology. It's the natural progression of civilization." "Not for humans," Quintel replied grimly. "Violence seems to be their natural state. They've turned conflict into art, entertainment, and even sport. While we developed technology to explore and create, they developed it to destroy." Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity was preparing for what they assumed would be the aliens' inevitable counterattack. The victory over the alien fleet had given them confidence, but Admiral Kim Tae-woo knew better than to underestimate an enemy with superior technology. "Status report on our new defenses," he ordered. General Han Woo-jin, newly appointed head of the Xenocombat Division, stepped forward. "We've installed weapon platforms throughout the solar system. Every major asteroid now has hidden missile batteries. The moon has been converted into a fortress. Engineer Nam So-young had been working around the clock to reverse engineer captured alien technology. We've figured out their faster-than-light communication system. We can now monitor their transmissions across half the galaxy." "What are they saying?" asked Dr. Yoon Hae-ri. "They're terrified," Nam So-young replied with satisfaction. "They're calling us monsters, devils, unnatural killers. They can't understand why we won't just surrender and join their peaceful empire." Commander Shin Young-mi, head of the new intelligence division, had been analyzing alien psychology. "From what I can tell, these beings have never experienced real conflict. They've been peaceful so long that they've forgotten how to fight. That's our biggest advantage." Captain Ko Sung-ho, commander of Earth's first deep space exploration fleet, raised his hand. "Sir, if they're really that peaceful, maybe we should try to negotiate." The room fell silent. Admiral Kim Tae-woo looked at the young captain with the expression of a man who had seen too many wars to trust easy solutions. "Captain, they showed up at our planet with overwhelming force and demanded our surrender. When we refused, they returned with an even bigger fleet. Now you want us to trust them?" "But sir, what if Dr. Lee was right? What if that device really was just a medical scanner?" General Han Woo-jin answered before the admiral could speak. "Captain, in war, you don't get the luxury of benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were peaceful, maybe they weren't, but they're not peaceful anymore." Back in the Galactic Council, the debate continued. The survivors' reports painted a picture of humans as natural-born killers who fought with a combination of advanced technology and primitive savagery. Most terrifying of all, they seemed to enjoy the violence. "We cannot allow this species to spread into the galaxy," declared Counselor Voxman. "They would destroy everything we've built." "But how do we stop them?" asked Erixana. "Our ships aren't designed for combat. Our crews don't know how to fight. They destroyed our most advanced fleet with technology they learned from us." Military advisor Jack Toole had been studying the problem for weeks. "We have two options. We can try to contain them in their own system, or we can eliminate them entirely." The suggestion of genocide sent another wave of horror through the chamber. Even discussing the deliberate extinction of a sentient species went against everything the galactic civilization believed in. "We cannot commit mass murder," philosopher Renestos declared. "That would make us as evil as them. Then we contain them," Jack Toole decided. "We surround their system with automated defense platforms and energy barriers. We prevent them from developing faster than light travel. We give them time to evolve past their violent nature." It sounded reasonable to beings who had never understood the concept of total war. They would build a cage around the humans and hope that eventually, the violent species would learn to be peaceful. The decision was unanimous. Within weeks, automated construction ships began building a containment barrier around Earth's solar system, energy fields that could stop faster than light travel, monitoring stations that could detect any human vessel trying to escape, and defensive platforms that could destroy any ship that tried to break through. To the aliens, it was a humane solution that protected the galaxy, while giving humanity a chance to grow beyond their violent tendencies. They even planned to eventually offer the humans peaceful contact again, once they had learned to abandon their weapons. But the aliens had made a critical error in their understanding of human nature. They thought the containment barrier would make humans feel trapped and eventually force them to seek peaceful solutions. Instead, humanity saw the barrier as an act of war. The aliens had declared Earth a prison and appointed themselves as guards. For a species that had fought its way to the top of the food chain on one of the galaxy's most dangerous worlds, there was only one possible response. Dr. Bei Mi-young, the Earth government's chief xenopsychologist, delivered her analysis to the military leadership. "These aliens have just made the worst possible decision. They've given us a clear target, a defined enemy, and time to prepare. They think like herbivores trying to fence in predators." "How long do we have?" Admiral Kim Tae-woo asked. "The barrier will be complete in 6 months," reported Commander Shin Young-mi. "After that, they plan to monitor us and wait for us to become peaceful." "They'll be waiting a long time," the Admiral replied grimly. "Humanity doesn't surrender and we don't forgive. If they want to cage us, they better make sure those bars are strong enough." Engineer Nam So-young was already working on solutions. "I've been studying their barrier technology. It's designed to contain primitive species who would try to break through directly. They never considered that someone might try to turn the barrier itself into a weapon. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their tactics. It was their ability to think like predators in a universe full of prey. The aliens had built a cage around Earth, but they were about to discover that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do to a wild animal is try to trap it. The ceremony hall aboard the Eternal Peace had been decorated with flowers from 12 different worlds. Gentle music filled the air, as representatives from 47 peaceful species waited to welcome humanity into their galactic family. None of them had ever seen violence in their lives. That was about to change. When Scholar Quintel raised his medical scanner toward Dr. Lee Soo-jin, the humans saw a weapon pointed at their chief medical officer. Colonel Lim Jae-sung's soldiers had trained for this exact moment. They moved with the deadly precision that only comes from a lifetime of warfare. The first alien to die was a musician from the Helix Nebula. He had been holding what looked like a communication device but might have been a weapon. A human soldier put 3 bullets in his chest before he could even understand what was happening. The beautiful crystal instrument shattered, spraying rainbow light across the floor. Ambassador Veltari watched in horror as the humans spread through his ceremony hall like a plague of death. These creatures moved differently than any species he had ever seen. They didn't hesitate, didn't negotiate, didn't even seem to think. They simply killed with terrifying efficiency. "Stop!" Veltari screamed, raising his tentacles in what his species considered a peace gesture. "We mean no harm." But to Captain Kang Dae-ho, Those raised tentacles looked like signals to other aliens. The captain's sidearm appeared in his hand as if by magic, and 2 shots dropped the ambassador to the floor. Purple blood spread across the white ceremonial robes. Dr. Lee Soo-jin grabbed the medical scanner from Scholar Quintel's dying grasp. "It really is just a medical device," she shouted over the gunfire. But her words were lost in the chaos. The aliens had no idea how to respond to violence. They had been peaceful for so long that their nervous systems couldn't process what was happening, while their brains struggled to understand that other beings were deliberately trying to kill them. The humans continued their methodical slaughter. Colonel Lim Jae-sung moved through the alien crowd like death personified. His knife found the gaps in their decorative clothing. His gun dropped anyone who might be reaching for a weapon. In 30 seconds, he killed 12 beings who had never hurt anyone in their lives. Communication Officer Choi Min-ho was transmitting constantly back to the human fleet. Delegation under attack. Multiple hostiles. Engaging with extreme prejudice. Aboard the Indomitable, Park Ji-won heard those words and activated the signal she had been waiting months to send. All units. Execute Broken Arrow. Repeat, execute Broken Arrow. Throughout the solar system, human warships that had been hiding in perfect silence suddenly roared to life. Behind Europa, Admiral Kim Tae-woo's battle group powered up their new plasma cannons. Near the asteroid belt, Captain Ryu Yun-seo's destroyers dropped their camouflage and armed their missiles. Even small fighters hidden inside hollowed-out asteroids began their attack runs. The aliens had no idea they were under attack until the first human missiles struck their ships. Engineer Nam So-young's new weapons punched through alien energy shields like they weren't even there. The hegemony vessel, Star of Unity, exploded in a brilliant flash, taking 400 peaceful researchers with it. "What's happening?" Commander Nixara demanded from the Eternal Pieces bridge. His displays showed impossible readings. Human vessels appearing from nowhere, weapons that shouldn't exist, and damage reports from across the fleet. "We're under attack," his tactical officer reported, her voice shaking. "Humans are attacking us." "That's impossible," Nixara said. "They're primitives. They can't possibly have this many ships." But the evidence was overwhelming. Human vessels emerged from hiding spots the aliens had never even considered. They fought in 3 dimensions like they were born to it, coordinating attacks across vast distances with split-second timing. Most terrifying of all, they seemed to know exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage. On the Eternal Peace, the massacre in the ceremony hall was nearly complete. Bodies of alien diplomats, artists, and scientists lay scattered among the broken gifts they had brought for humanity. The humans moved among them like wolves, making sure none were still alive to coordinate a counterattack. "Bridge is secure," reported one of Colonel Lim's soldiers. "No survivors." Captain Kang Dae-ho grabbed the ship's communication system. "This is Captain Kang Dae-ho to all human forces. The flagship is under our control. Repeat, we have the flagship." The word sent a chill through every alien ship in the system. Somehow the primitives had captured their most advanced vessel. Dr. Lee Soo-jin was studying the alien bodies with professional detachment. "These beings are physically weak," she reported. "Their bone structure couldn't handle high-gravity worlds. Their nervous systems are slow. They're completely unprepared for violence of any kind." "Perfect," Colonel Lim replied, reloading his weapon. "That makes our job easier." In space, the human fleet was demonstrating lessons learned from centuries of naval warfare. They didn't try to match the aliens' superior technology. They used superior tactics instead. Human ships worked in coordinated groups, covering each other's weaknesses and combining their firepower against single targets. The alien fleet, designed for exploration and ceremony rather than combat, fell apart under the assault. Their beautiful white hulls cracked and bled atmosphere. Their gentle crews, who had never known conflict, died without understanding why. Captain Ryu Yun-seo's destroyer squadron caught 3 alien vessels trying to flee toward the edge of the system. Her ships accelerated to intercept, their new engines pushing them at speeds that would have been impossible just months before. "Target the engines first," she ordered. "We want them crippled, not destroyed. At least not yet." The aliens' escape attempt turned into a running battle. Human fighters swarmed around the fleeing ships like angry insects, their weapons pecking away at shields and armor. When the alien vessels finally stopped moving, human boarding parties moved in to finish the job. It was the same story throughout the solar system. Humans fought with a combination of advanced technology and primitive savagery that the aliens couldn't counter. They used the aliens' own peaceful nature against them, knowing that beings who had never experienced war couldn't adapt quickly enough to survive it. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it was over, 58 alien ships had been destroyed or captured. Thousands of peaceful beings were dead. The few survivors fled in terror, carrying word of humanity's inexplicable aggression back to the galactic government. On Earth, the news was very different. Admiral Kim Tae-woo addressed the planet from his flagship. Citizens of Earth, today we face the first alien invasion in human history. Thanks to the bravery of our forces and the strength of our preparations, we have achieved complete victory. The alien threat has been eliminated. The celebrations lasted for days. Humanity had met its first test against alien technology and proven victorious. They had shown that Earth would not be conquered without a fight. But in the wreckage of the Eternal Peace, Dr. Lee Soo-jin made a disturbing discovery. The alien medical scanner she had captured was exactly what Scholar Quintel had claimed, a harmless device designed to check for allergic reactions to alien food. "Captain," she said quietly to Kang Dae-ho, "I think we may have made a mistake." Captain Kang looked at the bodies scattered around the ceremony hall, beings who had come to share gifts and welcome humanity into their peaceful community. "Maybe," he said, "but better safe than sorry. If they wanted to avoid this, they shouldn't have threatened us." Neither of them realized that the real threat had never been the aliens' weapons or technology. The real threat was the galaxy's complete inability to understand that some species might choose violence over peace, war over surrender. That misunderstanding was about to reshape the entire galaxy. 3 months passed like a storm gathering strength. On Earth, every factory that had ever built weapons was now working day and night. Admiral Kim Tae-woo walked through the orbital shipyards, watching workers put the finishing touches on humanity's newest warships. "Status report," he ordered. Colonel Lim Jae-sung saluted. 12 new attack vessels ready for combat. Another 8 will be finished by next week. All crews have completed zero-gravity combat training. Good, what about our secret weapons? Engineer Nam So-young stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "We've been studying the alien technology samples Captain Kang brought back. Their energy shields are powerful, but they're designed to stop natural space debris, not weapons. I've developed ammunition that should punch right through them." Dr. Yoon Hai-ri, the military's new alien psychology expert, had been studying the recorded conversations from the first meeting. "Admiral, I believe these aliens are planning a psychological warfare campaign. They're returning with a larger fleet to intimidate us into surrender." "How large?" Kim Tae-woo asked. "Intelligence suggests at least 50 ships, maybe more." The Admiral nodded grimly. 50 ships would be enough to destroy every major city on Earth, unless humanity struck first. Far across the galaxy, Ambassador Veltari was having very different preparations. His ship now carried representatives from 47 different peaceful species. There were artists, musicians, scientists, and philosophers. The cargo bays were filled with gifts, technologies that could solve Earth's energy problems, medicines that could cure every human disease, and art that could inspire them for generations. "This will be wonderful," Veltari told Commander Nixara. "When the humans see what galactic civilization has to offer, they'll forget their primitive fears." "Are you sure we need this many ships?" Nixara asked, looking at the massive fleet surrounding them. The humans seemed nervous about just one vessel. "This is a proper welcome ceremony," Veltari explained. "Every new species gets the full treatment. It shows them how grand and diverse our galactic family really is." Scholar Quintel was still puzzled by human behavior. "I've been studying their radio transmissions. Their entertainment seems to focus heavily on conflict and competition. And their news broadcasts. There's so much discussion of military preparations. They're probably just excited about meeting us," Veltari said. "Young species often don't know how to express their enthusiasm properly." On Earth, Captain Kang Dae-ho was training with Colonel Lim Jae-sung's Special Forces. The plan was simple but dangerous. When the aliens returned, a human delegation would again visit their ship. But this time, the delegation would include 12 of Earth's deadliest soldiers disguised as diplomats and security personnel. "Remember," Colonel Lim told his team, "these aliens are physically weak but technologically superior. Hit fast, hit hard, and don't give them time to use their advantages. Park Ji-won was coordinating the space battle from the Indomitable. We'll position our new ships throughout the solar system. When the aliens arrive, they'll think they're facing just one vessel. They won't see the others until it's too late. The plan had taken months to develop. Human ships would hide behind asteroids, inside gas giant atmospheres, and even disguised as space debris. When the signal came, they would emerge from every direction at once. Lee Soo-jin had been studying alien biology from the samples they'd collected. Their nervous systems are completely different from ours. They react slowly to sudden threats. In a crisis, they'll need several seconds to even understand what's happening. Several seconds is a lifetime in combat, Captain Kang noted with satisfaction. When the alien fleet finally arrived, it was even larger than intelligence had predicted. 63 ships of various sizes, all gleaming white and beautiful. To the aliens, it looked like a magnificent parade of galactic civilization. To the humans watching from hidden positions throughout the solar system, it looked like an invasion armada. "My God," whispered Admiral Kim Tae-woo from his command ship hidden behind Europa. "They brought everything they have." Ambassador Veltari broadcast his message to Earth. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We have returned with representatives from across the galaxy to welcome you into our peaceful community. Please join us aboard our flagship for the ceremony of first inclusion." Captain Kang Dae-ho responded exactly as planned. "We're honored by your invitation. We'll send a delegation immediately." On the flagship Eternal Peace, the aliens had prepared their grandest ceremony hall. Decorations from dozens of worlds hung from the walls. Tables were filled with foods that represented the best of galactic cuisine. Musicians from 6 different species practiced songs of welcome. "Everything must be perfect," Veltari insisted. "This is the moment these humans will remember for the rest of their lives, when they first truly became part of something greater than themselves." The human delegation arrived on schedule. Captain Kang Dae-ho led the group, with Lee Soo-jin as cultural liaison and Choi Min-ho as translator. The 12 Special Forces soldiers were dressed as diplomats and security officers. They smiled and acted impressed by the alien technology, but their eyes were constantly measuring distances, identifying threats, and noting escape routes. "Welcome, friends," Veltari announced as the ceremony began. "Today marks the beginning of a new age for humanity." The hall filled with alien music, strange but beautiful sounds that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Representatives from different worlds stepped forward to offer gifts: a crystal that could store unlimited energy, a medical device that could repair any injury, seeds from plants that could grow in any environment. Captain Kang Dae-ho accepted each gift politely, while his hidden soldiers positioned themselves around the room. Everything was going according to plan until Scholar Quintel approached Dr. Lee Soo-jin. "Dr. Lee," Quintel said, holding a small silver device. "Before we share our foods, I need to make sure they're safe for human consumption. May I scan your biology to check for allergic reactions?" In the context of a peaceful ceremony, it was a reasonable request. In the context of what the humans believed was enemy territory, surrounded by potential hostiles, it looked like an assassination attempt. Lee Soo-jin stepped back instinctively. Colonel Lim Jae-sung's soldiers reacted to her movement, their hands moving toward concealed weapons. Captain Kang Dae-ho's combat instincts kicked in. "What exactly does that device do?" he demanded. "It's just a medical scanner," Quintel explained, confused by the sudden tension. "Completely harmless. I only want to ensure Dr. Lee's safety." But Park Ji-won, monitoring from the Indomitable, saw only an alien pointing a device at Earth's chief medical officer. She activated the emergency signal. "All units, code red." "Repeat, code red. The delegation is under attack." Throughout the solar system, human warships that had been hiding for hours suddenly powered up their engines and weapons. In the ceremony hall, 12 Special Forces soldiers prepared to do what they had trained for their entire lives. The trap was about to be sprung, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stars looked different through alien eyes. Ambassador Veltari gazed at the small blue planet spinning slowly beneath his ship. For over 50,000 years, his people had made first contact with new species. It was always the same peaceful process: show up with better technology, offer friendship, and welcome another civilization into the galactic family. Earth looked no different from dozens of other worlds he had visited. The readings showed a young species that had just figured out how to leave their home planet. Their ships were crude metal boxes powered by controlled explosions. Primitive, but every species started somewhere. "Another routine contact mission," said Commander Nixara, looking at the tactical display. The human vessels were laughably small compared to their ship. The biggest human craft was barely the size of their shuttle bay. "I give them 2 days before they accept our offer to join the Council." Scholar Quintel was more interested in the biological data. "Fascinating. They seem to be omnivores with excellent tool-making abilities. Their brain patterns suggest high intelligence, though their technology development seems focused on unusual areas." "Unusual how?" Veltari asked. "Well, most species develop space travel for exploration or resource gathering. These humans appear to have reached space primarily through military applications. Their ships all carry weapons." Veltari waved a tentacle dismissively. "Young species often carry primitive weapons until they learn better. Once they see our peaceful ways, they abandon such crude thinking." On the human ship Indomitable, Captain Kang Deho studied the alien vessel through his telescope. The thing was massive, easily 10 times larger than his ship. Its hull was smooth and white, with no visible weapons ports or armor plating. Either these aliens were incredibly confident, or this was some kind of test. "Sir, they're broadcasting again," reported Communications Officer Choi Min-ho. "Same message as before. They want to meet and talk about joining their galactic government." Chief Tactical Officer Park Ji-won frowned at her displays. "Something feels wrong about this, Captain. They show up with overwhelming force, claim to be peaceful, then demand we submit to their authority. Classic invasion tactics. Maybe they really are peaceful," suggested ship's physician Lee Soo-jin. "Their message did say they want to share technology and knowledge." "That's what every conqueror says," Park Ji-won replied. "Right before they take over your planet." Captain Kang Deho had fought in 3 different wars before joining the space program. His instincts told him to be careful. These aliens might be peaceful, but they might also be testing human defenses. Either way, he would not show weakness. "Send our reply," he ordered. "We'll meet with them, but on equal terms, not as subjects begging to join their empire." The response puzzled the aliens. Most species were eager to join the Galactic Council. The benefits were obvious: advanced technology, protection from cosmic dangers, and access to thousands of years of accumulated knowledge. These humans seemed suspicious instead of grateful. "Perhaps they don't understand," Veltari suggested. "We should demonstrate our peaceful intentions more clearly." The meeting took place aboard the alien vessel. Captain Kang Deho brought a small team: Lee Soo-jin for medical expertise, Choi Min-ho for translation, and 2 security officers who he introduced as diplomats. The aliens welcomed them with elaborate ceremonies. The alien ship was incredible. Walls that glowed with soft light, gravity that worked perfectly, and air that smelled like flowers. Everything was beautiful and peaceful. "Too peaceful," thought Park Ji-won, who was monitoring from the Indomitable. In her experience, people who worked very hard to appear harmless usually had something to hide. Ambassador Veltari showed the humans wonders they could barely imagine. Rooms where you could walk through history, machines that could cure any disease, and star maps showing thousands of inhabited worlds living in harmony. "All of this could be yours," Veltari explained. "We ask only that you join our peaceful community and abandon your primitive weapons." Captain Kang Deho kept his expression neutral, but inside he was thinking fast. These aliens wanted humans to give up their defenses. That was exactly what an invader would demand. "Your offer is generous," he said carefully, "but we need time to consider such a big decision." "Of course," Veltari replied, "though I must say your caution is unusual. Most species are eager to join us." That was when Scholar Quintel made his mistake. He approached Dr. Lee Soo-jin with a small device, intending to perform a routine biological scan. To the aliens, this was normal procedure. They needed to make sure humans could safely eat alien food and breathe alien air. To the humans, it looked like a weapon pointed at their doctor. The security officers reacted instantly. Stepping between Quintel and Lee Soo-jin, their hands moved to their sidearms, not drawing them but ready to. "What is that device?" Captain Kang Deho demanded. "Just a medical scanner," Quintel said, confused by the sudden tension. "I wanted to make sure your biology is compatible with our life support systems." But the damage was done. In the humans' minds, the aliens had just tried to scan their people with unknown technology. That could be preparation for biological warfare, intelligence gathering, or worse. The meeting ended politely but coldly. The humans returned to their ship with promises to consider the aliens' offer. Veltari watched them go, puzzled by their strange behavior. They seemed almost afraid, he told Commander Nixara. Why would they fear us? We offered them everything. Young species are often nervous, Nixara replied. We'll give them time to think. When we return with a proper diplomatic fleet, they'll be ready to join us. On the Indomitable, Captain Kang Daeho called an emergency meeting with Earth Command. The aliens claimed to be peaceful, but their actions told a different story. They had shown up with overwhelming force, demanded submission, and tried to scan human biology. Classic pre-invasion tactics. How long do we have? Asked Admiral Kim Tae-woo over the communication link. They said they'd return with more ships, Kang Daeho reported. Could be weeks, could be months. Then we prepare for war, the Admiral decided. If they want a fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget. As the alien ship departed, both sides began planning for their next meeting. The aliens prepared gifts, ceremonies, and treaties of friendship. The humans prepared weapons, strategies, and defenses. Neither side understood the other, and that misunderstanding would lead to consequences neither could imagine. The aliens had never met a species that chose war over peace. The humans had never met anyone they trusted enough to believe was truly peaceful. The stage was set for a conflict that could destroy everything both sides claimed to want to protect.